Hello everybody and welcome back for all my returning viewers, and welcome to the channel for all my new viewers as well. So I wanted to make this video especially because people have been asking around the internet on who the next big bad for the Flash is going to be. Obviously earlier in season 6 we defeated 𝓼𝓸𝓶𝓮 and then we went into Crisis. And after Crisis there has sort of been a lack of any type of villainy whatsoever. I mean, you have Black Hole and you have Iris being trapped in the mirror realm, but that's about as close as we've gotten so far to having any villain for the later half of season 6. So people are beginning to wonder if Reverse Flash is going to come back, if we're going to see any new speedsters whatsoever, and hopefully I can provide an answer for that. It's been quite some time now since we've actually had the main villain of the Flash be a speedster. The last time this happened was back in season 3, and obviously as we know that was 𝓼𝓸𝓸𝓸. So for today's video, I've compiled the list of my top 3 villains that we could potentially be seeing in the later end of season 6 and potentially even going into season 7. So without further ado, let's get into it. So please keep in mind that this list is not ranked and it's not based on which villain I would like to see as compared to which villain I would least like to see, and I just want to let you guys know that before we begin. So anyways, to get started, we're going to start off with Godspeed, and I think that Godspeed makes the most logical sense to appear in season 6 and even in season 7, as season 6 is primarily focused on Black Hole after obviously Crisis happened, and essentially Godspeed was created primarily because of Black Hole. And essentially what happens is Black Hole creates these Speed Force storms, and a detective known as August Hart actually gets hit by one of these Speed Force storms and in turn becomes a speedster. He then turns to villainous ways, and as we know, he becomes Godspeed. And this would be the perfect season to have Godspeed introduced into the Flash, and obviously because unless we see more of Black Hole in the future, then I mean, this is going to be the best time that he actually emerges as a villain and potentially goes on to become a longtime enemy of the Flash, just like the Reverse Flash did. And we actually know that Godspeed actually lingers around for a long time because we actually end up seeing him even in the future where he kills Nora's friend in season 5. Godspeed would be the perfect candidate to become a villain in season 6 of The Flash and then potentially become the main villain in season 7. A lot of people want to see him face off against Barry Allen because they want to see in which ways he would challenge Barry and how he would actually potentially even beat Barry in different situations as compared to Reverse Flash or Zoom or Savitar, etc., as his name is literally Godspeed, so he'd probably pose a major threat to Barry in some way, shape, or form. As we know, Barry has always kind of had an issue dealing with speedsters up front when he first meets them, but eventually through the help of Team Flash, they usually are able to discover some type of weakness with the speedster and then eventually exploit it. But I'm really excited to see how Barry actually handles himself the first time he actually faces off with Godspeed, and if he manages to hold his ground or if he gets his ass kicked. Next up on the list we have Reverse Flash. Now, a lot of people want to see Reverse Flash take up the same role that he had in season 1, and as we know in season 1, he was the big bad for that season, and he challenged Barry in every way, shape, and form possible. He challenged Barry mentally, he challenged Barry physically, and overall, he was probably and arguably one of the best villains we've had on The Flash so far. He's overall just the perfect fit to fight against Barry, and he can hurt Barry in so many ways, both mentally and physically. He can hold Nora's death over Barry, and he's pretty much equal to Barry in speed, and just everything that Barry can do, he could do, and probably even do it better at some points. So I'd really like to see him come back and face off against Barry again, especially because Barry might be a little bit different, because the next time we actually see Barry, he might actually have the new Speed Force on his side, and obviously he wants to avenge Nora, so he's definitely going to want to go head to head with Reverse Flash the next time he gets the opportunity to do so. Hopefully they do bring Reverse Flash back though, and we are able to see him fight against Barry again, as I'm very interested to see what type of new fighting techniques that Reverse Flash may have adopted and how Barry is able to handle himself against Reverse Flash now that essentially they're both stronger and they're both more mature now, and they've just really grown accustomed to each other throughout the years. So last on this list, and this is quite the interesting choice, but nonetheless I feel that a lot of people want to see this and I want to see it as well, and that villain is none other than the Red Death. Now, the Red Death is a very interesting choice, much like Reverse Flash, because if the Red Death exists and we see him this season, or next season, then that will definitely confirm the existence of the negative multiverse within the Arrowverse. And obviously we know he exists because we've heard him mentioned in season 5 of The Flash, but obviously Crisis just happened, so I'm not really sure if they're prepared to go back and kind of revisit that whole situation with the multiverses and everything along those lines just yet. But if they are ready to do that and we do see Red Death, then that will be amazing. Basically, the whole story of Red Death is in Earth -52, Bruce loses his mind and he fights against Barry Allen. And he fights against Barry because he's so tired of losing his sidekicks and he's so tired of losing family members. And Earth -52 is on the verge of destruction and he's doing his best to save it, but he can't. So in a last-ditch effort, he actually fuses with Barry Allen of Earth -52, and he forces him into the Speed Force, and Bruce, aka Batman, goes into the Speed Force with Barry Allen of Earth -52, and they fuse together to become a speedster. And essentially Bruce Wayne has full control over the speedster abilities, and Barry is trapped inside Bruce's mind. And essentially what happens is Bruce Wayne goes on to essentially become a villainous serial killer speedster, essentially, that goes on a rampage and essentially starts killing all of the evil villains to try to save Negative Earth 52. And I mean, it'll be really interesting to see if they do bring Red Death into the show, why they actually choose to have him come to Earth 1 and what significance he has to Earth 1 Barry. Because I mean, like I said, to incorporate him into the show, it's going to have a much bigger backstory, and there's definitely going to be much bigger threats that come with the Red Death as well, and much bigger villains. So how they're able to incorporate him is going to be quite interesting, and potentially would require a crossover event like Crisis on Infinite Earths. But nonetheless, I'm really excited to see when they bring him into the show, because they've already teased him, they've already had him mentioned, so they're already considering him, as we know. So he's probably going to be set up to make his appearance somewhere in the near future. But without further ado, guys, I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. Let me know if you guys agree with this list of potential speedsters that we could see in the future, and if you have any speedsters that you would add to this list, let me know. And thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.